Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel, and I wanted to bring you this information because for the past couple of days it's been rather interesting. Now, I sat on this particular article, and I'm glad I found it the other day because I actually had family members and friends who typically don't ask me about particular political situations, although they do ask me about politics. But this in particular came up. Now, they didn't talk about this particular article, but fortunately I came across this article and I was able to discover and figure out what they were actually talking about in specifics. I had not read the actual article itself. I just saw the headline, which typically most people would see anyway. And of course, we already know Axios is not exactly they're not exactly the most center periodical out there, but obviously clearly part of the left. And of course, this is the Drive. Now, I believe this would be one of the main sources of the Drive, but we'll get into that here in just a moment. So from Axios, Trump dogs dull DeSantis ahead of potential 2024 matchup. Of course, they have a kind of a disparaging little illustration here. Donald Trump is trashing Ron DeSantis in private as an ingrate with a dull personality and no realistic chances of beating him in a potential 2024 showdown, according to sources who've recently talked to the former president about the Florida governor. Who are these sources? Are they the water cooler group at the Axios break room? Are they the echo chambers of Twitter? Because we don't really see any sources. Now, I want you guys to keep this in mind. According to sources. Now, why it matters. The two are among the most popular Republicans in the country. And as the former president eyes another run in 2024, he's irked by DeSantis' popularity and refusal to rule out running against him. Now, remember what we talk about here on the BuzWeaver channel. What is the highest virtue that the left has? If you thought this word, you are correct. To them, popularity is the highest virtue. It signals to them that people are accepting, receptive, welcoming to this idea or philosophy or worldview, particularly when it's theirs, that they want to be popular. But popular is their measuring stick. It is their virtue. So when you see this language like sources, but no particular names, popularity, you can already see they're using their own buzzwords to basically dog whistle to their echo chambers and to their ilk. And if for no other reason, as Tim Pool says, their cult. Now, we can go through each of these particular bullet points, but it's not really relevant because the point being, as it was brought up to me yesterday by family members and friends, they were asking me, what is this deal about DeSantis and President Trump? Well, there isn't any division between President Trump and DeSantis. They aren't pitted against one another, or they aren't doing these little backbiting things against each other. DeSantis has already made it clear that he's not particularly focusing on running in 2024, where we know the rumblings from Trump is that he will. But here's the curious thing. It's actually getting around the mainstream media and social media, which is part of what we had predicted, that the left was already organizing, already putting smears together, the tabloid type discussions, and pitting one Republican against another or someone against Trump. And we're even hearing, as we're seeing, that Hillary Clinton is actually kind of putting out a litmus test of feelers to kind of see where she might play in the game should they need to bring her out, because Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are absolutely tanking in their approval rating. It's absolutely abysmal. From the Daily Mail UK, DeSantis will not bend the knee to Trump. Florida governor says backing ex-president for 2024 now is too much to ask after Trump attacked him for being dull and having no charisma. Now, let's go back here. Who was it that said dull? Dull, right? So here we have the same sort of language. And then if we go down here to the actual heart of the article, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, once loyal member of Donald Trump's court, is refusing to bend the knee to the former president and says backing him in the 2024 election is too much to ask after Trump publicly attacked his character, according to a report. From who? Axios? From who? Another news source? From each other in the echo chambers of Twitter? But this is the point that I'm trying to make. They have already started going after anyone who might support President Trump, perceived to support President Trump, does support President Trump, and then Trump himself. So this is not particularly unusual. This is not anything that we weren't anticipating, but they've already started, or I should say they started 11 days ago when I came out with the very first video pertaining to this. DeSantis, however, has told his inner circle that Trump's expectation that he bend the knee is asking too much. I don't see President Trump phrasing something like that. I really don't see it. I see President Trump, who has been alongside DeSantis, who have sat together, had meals together, and have discussions together. President Trump's strategy is going to be totally different in 2024 versus when it was in 2016. President Trump had the great experience of having been president for 4 years. He knows who the backstabbers are. He knows who the backbiters are. He knows how the game is played. He knows the politics now because he's been in it, and he knows exactly what the media is trying to do or what they're trying to do to him. And this is part of it, and that is to pit DeSantis against Trump because the two are very popular. Then, of course, you also have Greg Abbott out of Texas. But this is part of their strategy because they probably have run out of tabloid things to cover when it comes to President Trump, although give them the space and they'll come up with something, some sort of tabloid. Believe me, there'll be some allegation or some female or whomever will come out, who knows when, all of a sudden and say, you know, this happened or that happened. But people, the American people, should be starting to catch on to the ideas that are presented to them by these narrative-driven articles like this that try to pit President Trump against his supporters or supporters against President Trump, and it's absolutely absurd. The two are among the most popular Republican figures in the country, and with Trump eyeing another presidential run in 2024, many political pundits believe he is irritated by DeSantis' interest in running against him and his growing popularity. DeSantis has never said he was going to run. He has not said it. We have seen him say it himself. He doesn't have any particular plans on running. Does that mean he will, or does that mean he won't? Not necessarily. I just don't see it happening. President Trump is just too big of a figure, or I should say too popular of a figure among supporters for DeSantis to try to jump into that sunshine. I just don't see it happening. DeSantis has it pretty good down there in Florida, and he's doing quite well. And, of course, here's Roger Stone and Mitch McConnell. So they're basically just trying to go through, and then as they patronize and insult and continue with their condescension about President Trump, of course, that's why they brought up Roger Stone. That's why they brought up Mitch McConnell. And they probably just went into, and they'll probably go into what happened on January the 6th. So all these are just kind of their measures and ways to be able to pit one against the other. And I just wanted to bring this to your guys' attention in case you were wondering about the specifics, because we don't have any named sources. So when I looked into this further and even watched some coverage from Six Hexenhammer, he and I agreed with the same things, as well as I believe, I'm sure Tim Pool will, as well as many other commentators, that when they use the term sources, it could be anyone. It could be just anybody. It could be somebody within Axios. It could be somebody within the media, and they all feed off of each other. So when one of them says a source, they just take that and use it with another, and then, from source to report, which is what we saw here. And then this is what they do. They go in this circling firing squad, as Obama likes to call it, of them sharing their own information, and there's really no substance behind it. But this is what we can anticipate probably for until President Trump makes an official announcement, when they'll go into more of their attacks and, of course, what we now call the hate campaign against Trump. And that's what I had for you guys today. And, of course, if you haven't already, below this video, you'll find the various links to my social media where I do daily posts. And if you're following me on Rumble, Odyssey, and BitChute, thank you guys for the incredible support you've shown lately. It is very much appreciated. And appearing right there on the screen for all of you guys here on YouTube. We're going to beat the algorithm this year, so make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. You can click on that icon to do so, and you can click notifications. Did I say clock? Click notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel. And I will see you guys in the next video.